The trading outpost on Kepler 442b was supposed to be neutral ground. Russell had only been there for 3 standard weeks, working as a freight coordinator for the Terran Merchant Guild. The job was simple: log shipments, verify cargo manifests, and stay out of trouble. Humans were still newcomers to the galactic community, barely tolerated by the elder species, who had been traversing the stars for millennia. Russell had learned quickly that most aliens viewed humanity with a mixture of curiosity and contempt. Too aggressive, they said. Too emotional. Too reckless. He was reviewing inventory logs in his cramped quarters when the explosion shook the entire station. Emergency klaxons blared as Russell grabbed his breath mask and stumbled into the corridor. Acrid smoke filled the air, and through the chaos, he heard screaming, a high-pitched, crystalline sound that could only come from a Valkyrie. The Valkyrie were one of the galaxy's most ancient races, their civilization spanning 10,000 years. They were beings of grace and telepathic prowess, their elongated frames covered in iridescent scales that shifted through every color imaginable. To harm a Valkyrie was to invite the wrath of a dozen allied species. Russell followed the screams to docking Bay 7. The blast had ruptured a fuel line, and flames were spreading rapidly through the bay's atmospheric processors. Through the fire he could see her, a young Valkyrie female, her scales flickering between panicked reds and oranges as she lay trapped beneath a collapsed support beam. Every rational thought told Russell to run. The fire was spreading too fast. The beam was too heavy. He was just one human, and she was an alien who probably wouldn't even acknowledge his existence under normal circumstances. But Russell had never been good at listening to rational thoughts. He charged into the inferno, feeling the heat sear through his uniform. The Valkyrie girl's large, opalescent eyes widened as he approached. Her telepathic voice pierced his mind. "Human, no! You'll die." "Not today," Russell grunted, gripping the beam. His muscles screamed in protest as he lifted with everything he had. Earth's gravity was nearly twice that of the Valkyrie homeworld, and decades of human evolution in that crushing environment had given his species one advantage: raw, stubborn strength. The beam shifted. Russell's hands blistered, his lungs burning from smoke inhalation, but he didn't stop. With a final, desperate heave, he threw the beam aside and grabbed the girl. She was surprisingly light, her frame delicate despite being nearly 7 feet tall. He ran. The explosion behind them threw Russell forward, and he twisted mid-air to take the impact on his back, protecting the alien in his arms. They crashed into the corridor just as emergency bulkheads sealed off the bay. Containing the fire, Russell lay gasping, every nerve ending screaming. The Valkyrie girl May, his translator implant, fed him. Her name stared at him with an expression he couldn't read. Her scales had shifted to a deep purple, a color he'd never seen a Valkyrie display before. "You saved me," she whispered aloud, her voice like wind chimes. "You don't even know me." Russell coughed, managing a weak smile. "Didn't really think about it." Within minutes, station security arrived, followed by medical teams. And then they came Valkyrie warriors, their scales in battle formation, moving with deadly purpose. Russell's heart sank. Had he broken some taboo? Touched someone he shouldn't have? The lead warrior, his scales a deep crimson marked with gold, approached. Russell tried to stand but collapsed back down, his legs refusing to cooperate. This was it. This was how his short-lived galactic career ended. The warrior stopped before him. Then, slowly, deliberately, he lowered himself to one knee. The corridor fell silent, one by one. Every Valkyrie present knelt. Then the Kryn traders, insectoid beings who never showed deference to anyone. The Phyraxian diplomats with their 4 arms folded in respect. Even the station commander, a proud Xanthari who commanded respect across 3 sectors, inclined his massive head. May rose on shaky legs and placed a 3-fingered hand on Russell's shoulder. Her telepathic voice filled not just his mind, but seemingly everyone's in the corridor. This human demonstrated Velsarai the sacred act of life debt. He knew not who I was, knew not what it would mean, yet he charged into death itself to preserve life. He asked nothing, expected nothing. He simply Cared. The Crimson Warrior spoke, his voice carrying ancient authority. Human Russell of Terra, you have saved Myrala Shan, daughter of the High Arbiter, heir to the Valkyrie Concordance. But more than that, you have shown us something we thought lost to the younger race's true valor without calculation. Russell's head spun. Heir? He'd saved royalty? May's scales shifted to a warm gold as she continued. My people have watched humanity with doubt. You are warriors without cause, we thought. Savage and impulsive. But this human showed us what we had forgotten, that sometimes the greatest wisdom is knowing when to stop thinking and simply act. She looked around at the assembled aliens. We Valkyrie have calculated probabilities for 10,000 years. We analyze, we consider, we debate. And in that time, how many have we left to burn while we contemplated the optimal rescue strategy? The warriors stood and the others followed. By the ancient laws of Velsarai, Russell of Terra, you are now bloodkin to the Concordance. What was hers is yours. What threatens you threatens us all. He paused, his scales shifting with what might have been respect. Your species may be young, human, but you carry something the galaxy had forgotten, the courage to be good without reason. As medical teams finally reached him, Russell felt consciousness slipping away. The last thing he heard was May's voice, soft and warm in his mind. Thank you, Russell, for reminding us all what it means to be alive. When he woke 3 days later in a medical bay far more luxurious than anything a freight coordinator should warrant, Russell discovered that everything had changed. Humanity's status in the galactic community had shifted overnight. Trade agreements were being renegotiated in Terra's favor. Cultural exchanges were proposed. And all because one human had done what humans did best, seen someone in trouble, and helped without thinking twice. May visited him daily during his recovery, her scales always that warm gold when she was near. She told him stories of her people, and he shared tales of Earth. And slowly, Russell began to understand that perhaps humanity's impulsiveness, their emotional nature, their tendency to act before thinking, maybe that wasn't a weakness after all. Maybe, just maybe, it was exactly what the galaxy needed. The end.